The Harpoon of Seduction. The harpoon. Not really a device that you would readily associate with seduction. Indeed, it's not something you would readily link with anything, pleasant or subtle, since it's usually used in the violent and bloody practice of whaling and sealing. Those who engage in those practices would, I'm sure, regard it as a tool of the trade. A device that is used to sink the barbed point into the target, and then haul them in by use of the rope or chain attached, so that the prey cannot escape. It is a weapon, and it is one that is used by some of our kind. Our harpoon is effective, yet subtle. In fact, when used, the harpoon of seduction is 100% effective in ensnaring our prey. Unlike the barbaric device used at sea, our harpoon doesn't wound or hurt, but instead makes you feel wonderful, as the point is driven deep into your heart and the barbs take hold of you. Once our harpoon has been secured inside of you, it is just a question of time before we have hauled you towards us and ensured that you are brought within our sphere of influence and under our control, ready to provide us with the prime aims. How then does this harpoon work? It must be aimed at a target that will be vulnerable to its sugar-coated tip. This means the empath. If the wrong target has been selected, then the harpoon will just bounce off, and the intended target will wander away oblivious as to what has just happened. This mistake might be made by the less evolved of our kind, as he or she is working out the range and effectiveness of the harpoon. It's not an error that I would commit, nor those in the upper echelons of our kind. We know which targets are most susceptible to it. We undertake our preparatory work to ascertain that the target is one that can be speared in this fashion. This groundwork is essential, because the nature of the harpoon of seduction is that it is only able to spear a certain type of person, and that is the empathic victim. When the first shot is fired from the harpoon, it must be able to pierce the outer defences of the target, and then anchor firmly inside that person's heart, so that when we pull them towards us, the point remains firmly in place, with no risk of slippage or extraction. The shot must be accurate and powerful enough to achieve these two prerequisites, for if not, there is a risk that a second shot will be needed. This in itself is not disastrous, but it expends additional energy, not something that we like to do. Furthermore, there is the slight risk that the target might realize what is actually going on, so that they shift position and make it more difficult to get that second shot away. If the target is a particularly juicy prospect with regard to the provision of the prime aims, then this is most disconcerting. The harpoon shot must be the first shot fired in an attempt to ensnare the target. Yes, various forms of love bombing will follow to ensure that the target has next to no resistance as he or she is pulled towards us. Their resolve will be eroded by a hand grenade of gratuitous affection, and the machine gun spitting out flattery bullets, but all of that must come after the harpoon shot. If this is done beforehand, there is in all likelihood a risk that the target may dodge the onslaught, or it'll bounce off. The love bombing follows the harpoon shot, not the other way around. So, how do you recognise that a harpoon shot has been used against you? Well, ordinarily you don't, because the shot is so accurate, and is issued with such force, it lands home and you've been ensnared. Now all we need to do is pepper you with love and affection, or at least the appearances of those things, to keep you from resisting and realising what is going on, and we haul you in. Occasionally, and very occasionally, a particularly astute target may realise that something has happened, but they're not able to place exactly what it is. He or she will sense that something strange has just happened, but they're unable to put a finger on it, because of course already their emotional thinking will be rising and obscuring logic. By then, it is too late, as the first salvo in the love bombing will have begun. The harpoon shot has to be powerful and accurate. Accordingly, the way to identify it is as follows. 1. It must be the first act towards the target. It may be a gesture or words. Usually it's the latter. but it must be the first thing that we do towards you in terms of drawing you in. I don't mean ordinary friendly conversation and preliminary banter and such like, but when we make that first move to draw you in, this must be the harpoon shot. And, 2, to generate the power needed to draw you in and to sink the point deep into your heart, the act or gesture must be significant. Indeed, if you look back to when your narcissist ensnared you will probably look at the harpoon shot and realize now it actually stood out a mile. At the time it was greased with plausibility, so it slid right inside of you. Even if regarded in the code light of day, it seemed over the top. A prime example of this would be receiving a text out of the blue from someone you know and may have done for a long time, which professes, "I love you and I always have done." That's a harpoon shot. You've known this person, you probably like this person, but you never realised that this person felt this way. It seems over the top, but you feel great as the harpoon shot slams into you and releases its euphoria into your bloodstream. The product of your emotional thinking, occasioned by your addiction to the narcissist, and therefore this overrides any caution that might just emerge and appear in your mind. I've wanted you for 10 years, and now this is my chance. Boom! There is another harpoon shot. I have admired you from afar for so long, but now I need to take this chance to make you happy. It's why I have been put on this earth. Boom! There's another one. I was sent by God to look after you. There is another. Invariably, there'll be grandiosity, the appearance of compassion and care and love, a particularly grandiose manifestation of good intentions towards you. And this is the harpoon that has been fired into you in order to seduce you. I'm sure that you can work out which one was applicable to you, which sentence, which text message, which telephone call, which act was fired towards you that pierced your defences, got under your radar, and then began the process of having you anchored to the narcissist so that you could be drawn in and the seduction could continue. Once it's in, the harpoon, of course, then releases the poison charm. The love bombing begins, and you then are pulled straight away into our illusion. You're going to have a whale of a time there, aren't you?